America's Democrats podcast, show number 516, coming to you in 3, 2, 1. This is the America's Democrats podcast, the weekly podcast for stand-up Democrats. I'm your host, Jim Cuddy. This week, Julian Brave NoiseCat on the significance of Representative Deb Haaland's nomination as Secretary of the Interior. Suzanne Mettler on the unprecedented danger threatening our democracy. Plus, Bill Press talks with two Politico reporters who have been covering the Biden transition. Had enough of Fox News, the House Freedom Caucus, and Donald Trump? If you want the facts that you won't get from them or from the fake news sites of the alt-right, then stay tuned. Our sponsor, 21st Century Democrats, works hard to get everyday Democrats involved in returning our party to its roots and to success at the ballot box. Sit back and listen, then stand up and fight. And follow 21st Century Democrats on Facebook for all the latest progressive news. We're glad you can join us. President Biden has nominated Congresswoman Deb Haaland to lead the Department of the Interior. If confirmed, she'll become the first Native American cabinet secretary. Julian Brave NoiseCat says it's a rare opportunity for the Biden administration to restore trust with Native people and prioritize their concerns. Julian Brave NoiseCat and the tease for Suzanne Mettler in 3, 2, 1. This is the America's Democrats podcast, the weekly podcast for stand-up Democrats. Coming up next, 4 threats to American democracy and why we're facing an unprecedented crisis. But first, we turn to Jim Hightower, America's #1 populist, for his Common Sense Commentary. Common Sense Commentary, intro for Suzanne Mettler in 3, 2, 1. This is the America's Democrats podcast, the weekly podcast for stand-up Democrats. In her newest book, co-written with Robert C. Lieberman, Suzanne Mettler explores 4 threats that weaken democracy. And what is alarming about this American moment is that never before have they come together at the same time. Suzanne Mettler, intro for Bill Press, in 3, 2, 1. This is the America's Democrats podcast, the weekly podcast for stand-up Democrats. And now Bill Press with 2 Politico reporters who've been covering the Biden transition. What should we expect from the president's first 100 days? Bill Press, back announce, close of the show, in 3, 2, 1. Bill Press with Politico reporters Alice Miranda Olstein and Caitlin Emma. If you'd like to hear the entire episode, visit BillPressPods.com. And that's all for the America's Democrats podcast. Thank you to all who made today's show possible. Julian Brave NoiseCat, Suzanne Mettler, and the entire Bill Press team. And thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please get involved in our efforts to keep this show going and to elect Democrats who are bringing the party back to its roots. Go to americasdemocrats.org and click on Donate at the top of the page. And be sure to find 21st Century Democrats on Facebook and Twitter, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. For the America's Democrats podcast, I'm your host, Jim Cuddy.